Do they need signs up there to say? It's a workshop.
She has been missing for a while.
After a
A
while.
little worried about how they can sit on the ice.
She's
Oh, go goose and hare.
What's up, Dubs?
How are you? Hi.
Thanks for those thumbs up, guys. Hope everybody's having a good night.
I like her.
We should be starting the meeting here shortly. People are rolling in. Some board members and employees and stuff are showing up. So this will be Aguilar workshop where the people get to speak and ask questions. So if you guys have questions, you can drop them in the chat as we go along, you know. We'll see what we can do. So yeah. What's up, baby? What's up, Robert? Yeah. So there's like no agenda to sign in on tonight. Like you don't have to sign in to speak. It'll just simply, these people will be able to raise their hand and speak. So. What's up, Jason? Good to see you. Packets are going out, looks like.
Hey, Carol.
What are you talking about?
We're talking back to that food.
Thanks for hitting the thumbs up, guys. Helps the algorithm. Get YouTube to share it out more, you know. Share it with your friends if you'd like. We'll be starting here shortly. should be interesting, lots of information, because there's no restraints on the citizens as to what they can ask, basically. So there's going to be a lot of questions asked in a lot of areas tonight, I believe.
Sarah, how come you don't have a Sarah thing? Yes.
Workshop will now start.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. Should I stand up here?
Just go to the
Despite spending $95,000 since 2019, there hasn't really been any audits or anything. What's been happening with all that money?
We're still trying to determine that. At this point, I've been working with Crystal Dorsey and Jim Ray, who's, I guess, a preferred vendor for the state auditor's office. And what's been happening in the last week is that we went ahead and fired Robert Half and Associates because they did not produce the audits, and it wasn't necessarily their fault. It was culpability on several factors, not getting the information that they requested, not getting it in the formats they needed. So I'm still working with Jim Ray, he's the CPA that was overseeing that, and I guess he's been doing the town audits since 2016. And from the information I can gather, is he probably is the one that suggested hiring Robert Half because the finances were in such a mess that he couldn't get the information from the town either in a format or what he needed to complete the audits himself, and that's why he suggested Robert Half. Well, after I've met with him and Crystal Dorsey and Robert Half, along with Monica, we determined that contract with Robert Half was untenable and unsustainable. So what is happening, loophole isn't the right word, but it's an alternative to basically almost say that the books from 2019 to 2022 are so bad that they cannot be completely reconciled. And what they'll do is they're working towards what's called a modified opinion that basically will help us get the money released that's owed to us right now.
The $95,000?
No.
Oh.
That's what was paid to Robert Half and Associates.
That's what I'm wondering about. I don't know how they're being able to take this. What happened to the attorney? Is it something to do with the federal investigation? Why is he gone? Did he do something illegal?
That's something completely different. If you want to address the finances right now, we can keep going on that, and then I'll let someone take over on the attorney
okay.
part.
Sorry.
So that's okay. This is for your forum. This is for you guys, so we can, get you guys updated. So that modified opinion, I can tell you right now, goes against everything I am as a bookkeeper, because as a bookkeeper, you go back to the oldest point you can that was reconciled and you move forward, okay? It has been suggested to us that we start rebuilding the books from 2023 forward to current, and then they're gonna try to do modified opinions for the years 2019 through 2022. And so that's what Jim Ray is working on, because there's still a certain amount of work he needs to compile in financials and forms and stuff he needs to fill out, so we can get that modified opinion. And then I also found a gal that used to do the books for Levita. So we're gonna contract with her at basically $50 an hour, and then me working for free, and of course with the help with our current administration and Monica, we can probably get the books rebuilt for 2023 and current to 2024 for probably, under $1,000 a week versus $5,000 a week with Robert Half. Now, with that being said, there's, from what I understand, and I can't completely divulge it, there are federal and state investigations coming down. I reached out to yet another agency today.
Yeah.
To get another investigation going. What's happened, they just need a little bit more concrete proof. Actually showing that there was a crime committed before they can step in, and then they also want to give USDA first rights of refusal. To let them investigate first, from that aspect of it. However, we know going back to 2019, I can't tell you what's happened to those funds at this point in time. Like I said, we're working on it, we're doing everything I can. Unfortunately,
see
some of
them
this
gone?
moves as.
Can you see them gone? Can you watch them leave the books? the money?
Well, that's just
He's
it.
talking about a cross-check audit.
Right, well, I mean, we can certainly, get a forensic audit if somebody has $200,000 to pay for a forensic audit. So that's why the agency I contacted today can come in and do some of that, but they need certain evidence at first, before they'll come in and do that.
Have you tried Fiverr? I think that you can probably do it for like a couple $100, you know?
Yeah.
Would you turn that on so I can hear what you're saying, please?
Or speak into it.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, I just think, yeah, we might have to.
So let me move on.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out about the attorney, he's gone. I'm wondering if that's something to do with, you know, the federal investigation and if possibly there's something illegal going on, you know, it's definitely suspicious, you know.
It is very suspicious. I don't have a clear answer for you on that. If somebody else would like to address that.
The attorney resigned, and he gave us his reasons for resigning, that none of them seem to be along the lines of any investigation. So I would think that, I don't believe that would be the reason he resigned.
Can I ask a question while we're on money?
Yep.
Have our Doylestown employees been paid?
They were paid today.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're broke again,
Well,
but they were paid.
they can pay their bills, that's, you know, that's a big thing.
Right.
Because I think that Sarah and Stephanie, I mean, they don't like me. I think that
No,
they've
I
been,
agree, they need to be
they've
paid
been
for
very
the
loyal
work
to
that
this
they're
town
doing.
and staying through all of this.
Yes.
Well, and we're looking for other ways of bringing money in. Right now, I believe what we've done was transfer money from the gas, water, and sewer.
Well, there's no transfer, I was just talking to them further about that. Really, everything comes into the general fund. So we're talking about, you know, that kind of comes back around as we rebuild the books and update the software, how that will come together. Because really, you know, when somebody pays their gas bill and water bill, it comes in one ACH or one check or one credit card payment. So, you know, we have to figure out how we can separate that, differentiate that, because everything, as far as I understand it, is going through the general fund. So we're gonna be looking at how we can separate that out a little bit better, or at least track it, where if, let's say, you know, you pay your gas and water bill, and the money comes in, there's ways that you can do it in the books that it's due to from. So it'll be due from the general fund to the gas fund, and then the general fund would reimburse the gas fund. So it'll be due to from each of these projects or funds, however you wanna call it. So we will definitely be laying out the books in a much clearer fashion and be able to produce, you know, very accurate reports going forward, once we start the rebuilding of the books.
So basically, the balance sheets were kind of not real.
Yeah, the balance sheets are still just blow my mind. They just absolutely don't align with anything, so.
On
So is there
maintenance,
only one account, period?
No, I mean, there's other accounts, that have been opened up for the USDA, which, we do need those. Have you ordered checks for any of those accounts yet? Okay, whatever accounts are available to get checks on, we need to get those ordered, because we're gonna need to reimburse those funds as soon as we have other funds, because the USDA is gonna be looking into that. So especially those funds need to be tracked separately, checks cut specifically from those accounts when we're paying vendors, paying permits, paying attorneys, or whatever that's going to get reimbursed needs to be coming from that fund. And then once it's, you know, completely tracked from there, whatever is left over and is actually the town's, then that could be moved to the general fund, I believe, is how that should work.
I have another question.
Sure.
I'm trying to find out why the clerk resigned and if that is possibly linked to the federal investigation.
She has not resigned.
I have a question on maintenance. Has the water leak over, I guess, I know it by Vanessa's, by the funds,
Maple and First Street.
has there become, funds become available to fix that leak? Is that leak going to cause further damage if it hasn't been fixed?
Okay, now it's been called into 811, I guess, 4 times now. Today, made a phone call under an emergency. They did come out and locate the line. Now, as far as cost, Joe will be doing the digging, and a couple of us will probably direct traffic or help him finish this. But something like plumbing leak, you don't know the cost until you get there. So we're
Right.
3-4 foot down, and we don't know actually what, if it's an elbow, if it's a straight run. We don't know until we dig it up. So it'll be, with us doing the work, it'll be a lot cheaper than past adventures we've had at that.
And with the 9+ days of leak, has it caused any further damage, or is it just?
Well, other than it's depleting our water supply,
That's damage.
there's a small rut running down the road that could be graded out. So the worst damage, I would think, would be the loss of water,
Okay.
which, the
Right.
problems we have with water. But now part of this was 811. There's records of, they told me this morning there was no phone calls, but it turns out there was like 4 other phone calls.
They like to say that, it seems, because haven't we heard that before with another one that supposedly Joe didn't call?
Well, yeah, it is hard when you talk to someone on an 811 call, if you don't have a ticket number and they try looking it up,
They just
and
guess.
that could be where that information comes from.
Okay.
But after today's call, it was called in as an emergency. They were here within an hour, and they got it marked out. Took them like 20 minutes. And I guess with Joe's schedule, he wasn't really able to get there this afternoon, so it'll be a project for, and, he would have to give us the time of his schedule. He has chores in the morning. But there's definitely something that needs to be addressed at the quickest possible time, and he knows that.
Okay.
See, that line you're talking about that's broken, that really belongs to Mr. Ramos. He lives out there by the cemetery. They tapped into the city line right there. And they ran a water line all the way out to their property, and then they put a meter there. But they installed that line.
Mhm.
But wouldn't we still be responsible all the way up to the meter, even though?
Yeah,
he
town
installed
lines
it?
are town lines,
Yeah.
regardless.
Wasn't it turned over to us? I don't know how it works.
I don't either, because that's on city property and it belongs to them.
But after they put it in, the ownership would transfer to us, right? Because anyone along the way now can tap into it.
Well, they have a line going out towards Cumber Alleys. Why didn't they come across the road and tap in way on that side of the city limits?
Yeah, but that would
You know what I mean?
Yes,
They were way up here, they went from up here to the city property and everything. Then they tapped in, it's on city property, I don't know.
I would think, just me personally, it being on city property, it would be up to city, regardless of who installed it, it is on city property, so it would be, I'm sorry, but it would be
I've been in a
city's.
situation before where I had to put in a water line, and the town allowed us to put the water line in, but at our expense. We tapped into the water, we run it to the property, they put the meter in, then we run our line from that meter to the house. But we had to turn the water line over to the city, which gave everyone up and down the road the right to tap into it without any permission from us. So basically, we installed and they took over maintenance.
I can see paying for it when it's not city, it's on city property, but the city line, they installed it. The city didn't install it.
When I had a major leak on my place, I was told that from my house to the meter, I was responsible. And it cost me a pretty penny. But, you know,
Now,
again,
live in
that's,
town though,
yeah, here in town,
they live out in the county.
yeah.
And we spent a lot of money putting in a line also, but as soon as we put it in, it became city property. From the meter back to where they tied in, but from the meter in was still our responsibility. And
Which-
it ran for like 3 miles, so it was an expensive job. But as soon as it was done, it got turned over to the city.
But the leak is on city side,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I
what,
think-
what we did,
I think before you start pointing fingers though, you know, once you dig it up and see what the problem is.
There you go, where's
You know what I'm saying?
where's that?
well, supposedly that spot has had several problems with
Has it?
leaking. So if that's the case, then we may look at, instead of a patch right there, replacing a larger piece.
Exactly.
Because obviously, if this is the second or third time, there's a problem in that general area.
And why did they let them install a 2-inch line?
Things are
That's what
different.
I'm told, it's a 2-inch line,
That's
Oh.
not kosher.
Yeah, we have to get down to
a
it.
2-inch line. What we're gonna have to do is go back and find out if that one thing shut-off works. There's a shut-off there. You turn it off, see, hopefully it works. That you could just go and fix it and
But
I
at
have
least
another
now you
question.
can get in
Can I
there.
ask
and get
another
it.
question real quick? I'm wondering how the general funds got so depleted without anybody intervening or, you know, disclosing this until now.
You're looking at a relatively new board here. We've been requesting information. It's not always being provided. We're trying to dig in. We're trying to get all of the documentation together at this point. It's just gonna take, I think people are wanting, believe me, I wish we could fix this overnight, but it's not gonna happen overnight. We're still collecting information,
Bounce checks.
documentation.
And this board's been really proactive in trying to fix this. At our last regular meeting, we did vote that the checks aren't going to be written until the council approves them, and it was backwards before. So the council that was here in the past would, the check would be written, then they would okay it, and the council didn't know what it was for or why it was written. We did change that. So there were problems, and Angela, she's great on what she's doing here, but the council is, we're pulling together and supporting this, and really trying the best we can to fix this.
We're still meeting some resistance and definitely have some hurdles, so.
What
we're gonna
resistance?
get this. I can't discuss,
Okay.
everything at
That's
this
fine.
point.
Understand.
Tying into his question, why do some of the town employees seem unaware of those critical issues affecting the community? And isn't it their job to stay informed on those?
You think?
And would depend what issues, do you have one in mind?
The money issues, the booking issues, their job.
Yes. And, but that council is not here anymore.
Oh, I'm not talking about the council.
Well, the
I'm-
mayor's been replaced, and we are working
I
on
have a
that.
question, okay? Technically, what is your job? Because I don't think any of us know what your technical job is and what Sarah's is. I think,
Well, I'm an administrative assistant and I do payroll, all the utility billing, delinquents, red tags, the 941 taxes, the quarterly taxes. I send out the taxes for everybody at the end of the year, animal license, business licenses, leave. I
So
mean,
you wouldn't
I
necessarily know
don't
about the
do-
bills and all the,
like the
Not the
utility
checks, not
billing,
the
but and I do the accounts payable, I do cut the checks, what else? That's all I can
Wasn't
think
that
of now,
enough?
but, yeah.
And Sarah, what is your official, I mean, how many hats do you wear, Sarah? I know you're shy, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Is there an employee handbook?
Yeah, I get a copy of it, if you have an extra copy, if you can get it to the rest of the board members, otherwise I can make copies, but I just did a copy.
And we are trying to change this to where that the board is more transparent and working together, and that's why these workshops is so that you could ask directly questions, that, you know, so it's not hearsay, and it's not like the others where you have to sign up. You're open to ask us what you want to ask, so.
Well, and like I said, the reason I asked, you know, what their jobs are is because of Lexi's question.
Yeah, my question might not direct at them, it might direct at.
We know that the prior board members were doing their due diligence either for checks and balances within the town in the books, and I just think some of it was they just didn't know what they were looking at when they were being handed financials.
So wouldn't it be the administrators and Tyler's job to explain and tell them so they?
We can't discuss
I mean,
individual.
the administrator, my bad,
Yes,
administrators.
But we still have to leave that question out.
it would be an administrative job if the way that it's set up, but we have to look at the employee handbook to see where the different things go to.
Sorry.
And when we get it, everyone will know what's going on. We're going to be transparent.
Okay, I'll change the subject. What is the current plan to address the abandoned houses in our town that pose a risk to everybody's safety?
Heck, yeah.
Good question.
I'm sorry,
She wants to know what we're going to do with the abandoned houses that are here and basically clean up code enforcement.
Like the one on
activities we need.
Grants?
Like the one right by us.
Yeah.
you know, I don't know where that one's at, I mean,
Blowing around
you know,
everywhere.
it's
Grind Street and Church. where
no,
the-
I didn't mean that, I know where it's at, but I don't know where that situation is. You know, they took the windows out,
They were supposedly getting ready to tear it down.
and then there was the issue about, an issue you brought up about where's the cars gonna park, and after that,
I
nothing
think
happened.
it came into a water thing.
Yeah, it
putting
has
in
to be
more-
Sort of a permit,
They needed to be rezoned because he wants it to be 4 units. And then the water issue, there needs to be a second tap.
Yeah,
But they said they were still gonna tear that down.
Yeah, for
And the
safety.
thing is, I don't know about anybody else, but if you come into town and you see that, that's just,
oh, I know.
the
I
weeds are
agree.
taller than I am.
and there are other properties.
And a lot of it comes down to code enforcement, which takes money.
Correct.
So believe me, there's so many things that we need to address. We have a huge, loose animal, stray animal problem. We have abandoned houses, we have unsafe houses, we have, you know, there's just a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed. It'll all come back under that umbrella as soon as we can get some money.
Well, should
No
as a owner
specific
be
way
able
to,
Well,
get
part
rid
of this,
that
we're gonna have to
specific house's
codify
owners,
these
so we
ordinances so
can
that we
get
know
at least
where
one
it is
done.
anyway.
I would like to that, but we don't have code enforcement right now. So who are we don't have anybody that, you know, is trained or licensed or whatever to go and either give tickets or whatever, as far as I understand it, correct?
I
There
think,
can't even be a letter sent to them?
like the
Well,
owners.
the town would be able to write a letter if there's a complaint made by the citizen, I would believe.
I agree.
And then, you know,
And I think we've got personnel that live here that are capable of doing that,
Right.
of doing the code enforcement. But as we stand now, we can't afford one,
Right.
you know. But
If you got
rest
somebody,
assured,
we're working together.
if
this
you got
board,
somebody
this board
certified-
is gonna make things happen.
Okay.
It's totally
I'm gonna
different
hold
from
you
the
to
board
your
that said
word.
here before. Excuse me?
We've already
I'm
shown
holding
you,
all of you to your word on that.
and we're trying to show you through even this meeting tonight, this is something that hasn't been going on. And it's been said that it doesn't
Transparency.
work, but we believe it does work. We need to hear you and you need to hear where we're at. That's how we get voted in or out, you know. if
And
you don't
also
like
stops
us.
a lot of the rumors.
If we were able
Yes.
to get somebody that's certified as code enforcement that is willing to do the work pro bono, would we be able to that way?
If they could find someone that would
That-
do the work.
I understand that, and I think that's a possibility. I won't mention any names, but I'm gonna talk to this guy. He's very capable and he may be willing to,
Step in for just
Just so we can get some
temporarily
safety
at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
Because I know, I mean, I think the biggest thing is everybody, including us, would like to see some progress on
Yeah.
some things, and to actually see some action versus us sitting here up here going, you know, we want to see something in action. And it's hard right now because we can't necessarily provide those actions because we're still doing the legwork in the background.
And having to rebuild financially, I think is a big,
Right.
it's a big stumbling block for this board.
Exactly.
See, another thing about some of these abandoned houses that need to be torn down. Well, it gets to a point, before you can tear them down, they've gotta have an inspection, make sure there's no asbestos.
The red house
Or the
already
kittens
has.
that are in the red house.
Excuse me?
She's worried about the kittens that have moved in under the floor in that house. But they already did the inspection before they pulled the windows.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, that's what I see when I open my living room curtains.
Well, wouldn't we be able to let her, she's made a complaint, so couldn't the town write a letter to the owner requesting that, because we did give him permission to
I mean, I know we've
demolish.
called before
I think,
and asked.
we did.
We were waiting for the zoning.
Yeah, but we gave him permission to demolish, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we, but he, we were gonna wait until they zoned it first, and then he was gonna.
So who handles zoning?
the le-
Last time, Ken Torres was the one that was handling
Yeah,
all
but
of that
it's
with the red house.
$65 an hour.
Yeah,
So-
No.
I'll go tear it down. I volunteer to tear it down.
No, Ken Torres was not contracted as far as I know for any zoning.
Well, that's
His
what we
contract
were told.
Yeah,
His
he
contract
was
out
out
there
there
with-
that he was,
Where's that gas?
One of the tidies.
His contract on the last line says, and any other duties that the town needs. So it was kind of, we should,
Open-ended, but,
open-ended. that we
but
should
however,
revisit the
I
rate.
don't know of anybody, unless you know of somebody that asked him to step into a zoning supervisor or
The council
something.
in an open meeting did not.
So,
I just have one question. When I first came here, we were told by the administrator that the code enforcement was paid through a grant. Was that not correct?
Yeah, like what happened to that? Cause the emergency management and code enforcement was through a grant. Like we have multiple clips of audio of that and written documentation that said that was grant funded. So like, is that grant missing too?
so who was that grant from?
We don't know.
Yeah,
The
we-
administrator told us that the emergency management position and the code enforcement position was paid for through a grant.
And then it wasn't supposed to happen until after the job was done. I remember the conversation on that, you're right.
But there was multiple conversations on it, yeah, and we were to understand he was grant paid fully. So again, like, just an avenue to think about, guys.
Yeah, you might
Where
be
that
able to
then
get a
is,
code
okay,
enforcement
so
on
if you gave me
grant.
one more thing that I'm
There you
gonna
go.
have to
That almost sounds
investigate.
like FEMA. Thank you. This Tuesday, we had a recall election, and 140 people in town voted, and it was voted that our mayor would recall. My question is, since we do have a new mayor, when is she going to be sworn in? Does anybody know that?
We wanted tomorrow, but we're denied.
By whom?
I don't know that I'm at liberty to say.
Okay.
We're trying to get her sworn in as soon as possible for the reason of showing stability in the town. There's a couple of legal questions on it that is trying to be worked out now, and it leans towards that we can get her sworn in fairly quick.
Frank Zelli stated that it would take up to 10 days for that to happen.
Right, that he has to certify it, so 10 days would be the count. And I spoke to an attorney personally, it says that, you know, this is what we can do. So we're looking at 10 days.
Okay, thank you. And I would, not only personally, but on behalf of the Friends of Aguilar, like to thank Bob and Monica and Frank and Vern for representing our town here at Town Hall during the parade while the honor guard and the band went by.
I do apologize, I wasn't able to make it, I was in Alamosa, so I.
Short notice.
Yeah, I had some personal stuff to take
But
care of over
I think
there,
that just a big kudo goes to all four of you because you didn't have to.
Well, and thank you, it's the first time that we've really showed support.
Solidarity.
Solidarity and unity.
Yeah,
Yes.
so,
And that means a lot, not just to me, but I'm sure everybody. It meant a lot to be a bright spot in an otherwise dreary.
well, and 140 people voting,
Yeah.
that shows that people are starting to pay
Yes.
attention, so
Yes.
we've got a lot to do.
And that band was great,
Oh, that band was
just
Awesome.
awesome, yeah.
awesome. And our color guard, you know, our color guard, people don't realize, but those are disabled vets. And for them to march all the way and all the way back, that's
Mhm.
amazing. And we had a church group, and we had a skating group, and we had, I think we just had a lot of people that showed up and said, hey, I'm here. And then on the other side, we didn't have a lot of people that showed up, but that'll change. I think once people start realizing that this council is going to be positive and transparent and accountable, you're gonna see these chairs fill up in a better way than they have been. So, thank you.
Well, I think your event was a success too, because I was talking to my neighbor, and she said she met people from all over. She met somebody from Nevada, she met somebody who was here from Texas, she met somebody, you know, so I think there was, the event definitely drew a lot of people, you know, to come. I have another friend of mine that's outside of Walsenburg, and, you know, he was asking if I was gonna be here, and I said, unfortunately, no, but, so I think, you know, what you guys have done has been great, and it's certainly that's something that we can build on in the future too. And it's something, you know, that I think is good for the community, and could also help us financially too. I mean, because it brings people to the town, people spend their money, you know, so kudos to you, congratulations to you for a successful
This being a workshop, Gerald, are we able to like set up a date for the mayor to be sworn in using the 10 days as a reference?
I would imagine we could.
I know that we can't vote here, but.
The count has to be certified first though.
Well,
It's unofficial.
Yeah.
Donna, didn't you say that they certified or?
No,
Certified the count for the recall.
I was the watcher for the recall, and as far as I know, the three gentlemen judges did certify that by signing on the ballot. So to my knowledge, I believe it is certified. Now, whether they have to go another step, I don't know. I'm new at this, but
Sarah, what do we have to do?
We have to do a canvas, so basically, I guess it could be me and the mayor pro tem just have to go in and verify that, yes, that many ballots come in, write the numbers on a paper and everything, and then it has to be canvas, it's called a canvas, so.
And what
that has to be
exactly
done
is
without
canvas?
Basically, we just verify that however many ballots come in and that, and then we write the numbers of like who voted yes, who voted no, and how many each person, how many votes each person, like how many votes, how many yeses were marked, how many noes were marked. and how many votes each individual got.
So when do you guys think you can get that completed?
Yeah.
We have 10 days to do it, so it has to be done within 10 days.
Now,
Because it'd be the 16th.
Okay, so by next Saturday.
And then the
Sure, we'll
following,
get it.
the 22nd
Next
is
week.
the meeting, so.
so does the 10 days that we're waiting for, is this the 10 days? I mean, starting from the election?
The date of the election.
So they have to have it canvassed then by
Within 10
the
days.
16th, which is next Saturday, or next Friday. Next Friday.
Okay, so then the following Monday, we should be clear to,
Well, and then that Thursday, that following Thursday is the election, or the.
Regular
meeting, so. We can just put it in there right after we do, approve the agenda and the minutes, then we can put it in there to publish.
okay. So everyone's clear on that now, so
Well, and he knew they had to do like some verifying of the votes after,
and
and
there's different
I
times.
think I got airheaded on that one.
They have to have like 3 days to cure votes.
Yeah,
There's a process. If you look Title 31 under CRS, it'll give you the regulations.
Are we done with this subject? I have a different question. Okay, I'm just wondering what's going on with the augmentation pond project. Has the state stepped in on that? I've noticed a lot of big trucks going off in that direction as far as dirt haulers, whatnot, so forth. Can we have some sort of update on what's going on with the construction of the augmentation pond at this point?
Honestly, don't know where that's at.
That's quite an article.
It's kind of up in the air. Through a conversation, SGM said that they may, after they're paid, they would consider coming back. So it is every bit of it up in the air. Everything that, you could ask some questions from what's in here, because this information has already been put out. So if you have a question there, we'll try to answer it.
Well, I mean, I don't have a question from there. What I'm saying is I've noticed a lot of county trucks, Los Animas County trucks, dirt haulers coming in and out of Aguilar, 3 trucks at a time. And
Los Angeles County
is that a
hasn't
part
been-
of the augmentation
They
pond or
have,
no?
they haven't been carrying
No.
the dirt. It would have been a
No.
private carrier.
Can you provide an update on the status of how Ken Torres, and explain how he was approved for the grant despite the audits not being provided?
It's being investigated right now.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Do we plan to keep him? Ken Torres, that is?
Well, I think that we'd have to discuss that on contracts, and that would be executive session, wouldn't it? Just because of the contract, it will come up because.
And I only ask because like you say, it's open-ended like that, right? Like, I don't know what all he's got his hands into, and I don't think the community does either, you know?
or the board
So-
or anyone.
Well, for now, we know that he's the engineer on the augmentation pond. He would have been, he would have been the one to approve changes, the design, payments. So he was contracted according to that for this job
So is he
and writing grants.
responsible for the leak?
Right.
I couldn't answer that.
You mentioned writing grants, and I asked Ken during one of our meetings, I've written grants, so I kind of know the process, and one of the things that a grant provides for is a certain percentage goes back to the writer. And I asked Ken at a meeting if he was getting any monies right off the top of the grant, and he said, no, but, and his but was, I didn't hear a lot of it, I just caught tail end of it, but there was some, maybe possibly another grant that he may have. So I guess what my question, or not even a question, suggestion to the board is, can you look into that?
His contract's public information right now, isn't it?
I would say it probably is, I've never seen it.
Okay. It was quarter requested and put out, so my best guess would be it'd be public information. His contract reads $65 an hour for writing grants. It doesn't stipulate a percentage in the contract. So if there's something different than the contract here, it would be with whoever the grant writer is.
Wasn't he the grant writer?
Right, that's what we were saying. If nobody's overseeing this guy, he's writing the grants. He can be easily writing in to pay himself out of the grant, and then nobody's paying attention.
But we are now.
Okay.
A lot of everything that's happened in the past, we really are on it, and by you asking the questions, it brings it up, because now Angela's got another thing to look into.
I can tell you, it's already being looked at to a certain extent. Again, I can't divulge. I know Ruth is working on another story for the World Journal. Again, it kind of goes back to some of the state agencies I'm talking to. You know, what USDA is doing to look into whatever, you know, I can't.
There's just so much going on that I hate for something that important
To get missed, so believe me, I know,
Slip into the
and that's,
cracks.
you know, I look at these mounds of paperwork sitting in my living room going, how am I supposed to organize this? How am I supposed to cross-reference this? I mean, this is literally has become a full-time job, and beyond stressful. So again, we ask for your patience.
I think a lot of the community wants to participate as well, but
Sure.
again, they're not getting any of that information. The reports I'm getting back is the cores still are going unanswered,
Yes,
every day.
So now that you brought that up, I can't address that. I know that there's 2 core requests from Ruth from the World Journal that have not been addressed or answered.
I know over a dozen.
And she said that the paper is trying to give us a little bit more time and a little bit of grace to get those answered. So that was another thing I needed to follow up with you on, getting her those core requests. I believe she said on one of them, it was the approval of the 2023 budget, the meeting notes. I think she wanted the meeting notes where the 2023 budget was approved, I believe. She said that you and other office personnel were sent that email, so that was one of them. I'm not sure what the other one is.
And another part is, I believe that the one who answers the court request needs to be certified. So we'll have to look into that also.
I agree, that's important.
Right, that's like way up here on the list, I think. Because all these people want to participate and they can't because they're not allowed the information.
Right.
Right, how much easier could your job be if people could weed stuff out for you, you know what I mean? Like,
Right, no, I
we're-
know. I feel like there's so many things, we're still just hitting walls.
Yeah, it's
You know,
huge.
It's just like we're just, and it's this, again, it's the circular, you know, vicious circle that, you know, we're trying to circumvent and to get around, to get what we need to get stuff done. And it's really, really difficult.
And this group is really trying to be as transparent. I mean, we're averaging 2 regular meetings through the month and the workshop. And this is to keep everyone informed. This is so that you know what we're actually doing and how we're trying to address each problem.
right, but I mean, we're informing you guys, like, by not filling those core requests, it can get very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
it's a
town
serious-
can be held liable for not responding.
Like not saying you guys aren't being transparent, just saying like,
Right.
there's a federal and a state process that people are following and they're being denied. That's,
No, it opens the town up to
Yeah, it's
liability by not fulfilling those.
Donna,
Were we sued by the augmentation pond guy?
That was my question
Oh.
too, were they, can you
We
confirm
sued
or
what?
deny if you've been sued by a CSA?
Siente Construction come
They
in
came and
and
said
give a letter of intent
They were
for
going
$700,000.
to sue us on Monday, following the last meeting. I'm wondering if that suit was filed? The augmentation, the one that we owe $700,000 to,
what about it?
did he file suit against the town?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, just wondered.
I had a question about, core requests as well. Did we ever find out who was actually certified other than Tyra in the core requests to get them filled? Because Ruth isn't the only one that has core requests in.
But the only other two that could be certified would either be Stephanie or Sarah.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Did we ever find out are you guys certified for core request or no?
I'm not certified in them.
any plan to be? I mean,
I think it's.
Has to
that
happen.
we have to.
Yeah.
like it's
So
mandatory.
I think at this point in time, that's another priority, to look up and see what outstanding core requests are, and to get one of you, if not both of you, certified.
What's the process to get them certified?
That I don't know.
It's not really a long process, but, I mean, they just mainly need to learn the rules, right? And abide by them and sign on the line, because you got federal and state, both. So that's the main part of it, is knowing those. And I mean, they're both smart enough to comprehend that stuff, so it shouldn't be a big deal.
I'll look this up, and at our next regular meeting, I'll have this put on the agenda, and I'll have the list of rules to do this, in case the council needs to take a vote on.
And I'm pretty sure they're online classes even, so it's not like,
I'm pretty sure you're right,
Yeah, I
but
think
I'll
they got
come with
online
the
classes.
exact information, and it's only a couple weeks from now.
Well, I would say, I mean, these two women are capable enough to research how to get certified. So I would say try to get certified before the next meeting, if possible. And if for some reason you can't, then come to the meeting with reasons why you can't.
Yeah. I have a question, and it just popped into my head. How many lawsuits is the town facing right now? How many have you been notified?
I don't know, man. I know of, well,
Adam?
one.
well, I mean, Adam's
That's
one. You guys can't say you don't know Adam soon, you
Right.
guys.
I can say I don't know because I haven't heard anything about it. I heard he was, and his lawyer left him. I don't know if he got another lawyer, that was the end of that. I mean, just that his lawyer had quit, so I don't know
So-
anything else as far as,
And would you agree, like, that's a problem?
well, yeah, but I mean, if I don't know how.
No, I'm not saying your problem, I'm saying like collectively, like, that's a
Yeah,
problem,
but
right?
Last I heard from our lawyer was that his lawyer had quit and he didn't have any legal representation. And that's been a while.
So that one, I'm aware of that one, and then, of course, the gentleman from CFA, that was here at the last meeting, so those are the two that I'm aware of.
So we are being sued by him?
They don't know yet.
Oh, you don't,
You don't know, that I know of.
Okay.
That I've heard his intent about.
Yeah.
Well, then you've got Ruth with the road journal.
Ruth, yeah, they're holding off, trying to give us some grace period, so I will follow up with her and tell her that we're gonna be working on the other, town administration to get certified in quorum requests, so hopefully we can hold off that one from World Journal.
What about John Denicola's letter of intent? Did you guys receive that?
No?
It was certified, mailed, and signed for, guys.
Certified, mailed, and
Signed
signed
for
for.
by who?
We'll get you that information. We'll get you the receipt. We'll get that to the board.
But it was sent two here, it was sent to the lawyer before he quit.
Yeah, he also signed for it.
Okay.
We have letter receipt for that,
Do
okay.
you guys have requests in as well?
Yeah, we have.
He has
requests
active
in.
ones right this
How
second.
many do you have?
Well, I mean, they span back.
Okay,
They
going
span
back how
back
far?
multiple, I can tell you at least 10.
But at least,
Six,
No.
10,
at
okay.
least what, 2 of them are since they said they're gonna start
Well,
filling
one was
quarters.
recently when they had put up these new cameras,
Mhm.
I wanted footage on this corner camera, and I never received that, I never even got a, hey, it's gonna cost you this much. They took the
No.
cameras down for a week, and then they came back up. And then, I also have another request pertaining to, messages being made in public meeting, during public meeting.
Right.
How long is that footage held on those cameras?
State law says 3 years.
They should be saved for 3 years, and they should be recording constantly. If they're
Yeah.
not recording
That's state law.
constantly, and I can't request, say, midnight, I want from midnight to 12:30 at night. Doesn't matter if there's nothing on that, I should be able to get.
So
that
we can
footage. If
request
there's no
for up
footage,
to a year,
those cameras are not up to comply.
supposed to archive them for 3.
Can we have that for the agenda?
And that's any government operation.
Is that a federal thing that you're talking about? So like, okay, it's federal,
State and federal.
state.
They have to be
Yeah.
constantly running, and they have to save the footage.
Even like if the
for-
post office had a camera, same thing. It'd have to be on, and they have to
I
archive it.
think that kind of brings us almost to a close, because we're at about 6 o'clock, so I think we have to go into the special meeting at this point. Unless somebody has one last quick question they want to address.
I have another question. Monica, how do you justify the town's financial audits being delayed since 2018, leading to nearly $148,000 in penalties? Were these delays intentional to cover up the financial mismanagement under your watch?
I can't answer that because I wasn't on the board in 2018, so I'm sorry.
Completely different board on
Pretty much, this is I mean, certain members have been on the board before, but the board wasn't aligned. This is the first time, as I understand it, that the board is completely aligned, we're all on the same page, we all want transparency, and we all are doing our best to research all of these issues in mismanagement that has been going on for years.
And that doesn't mean that we're just yesing every question. If you see the way we're voting, each person on here is voting what they believe. There's not any of us that are just following to follow.
I have a question. Who are you?
Just a concerned citizen?
You live here?
No, I live in the area though.
Thank you very much. for-
Yeah, we appreciate you guys, thank you.
And we'll be doing it again next month, every month.
Thank you.
Right now, the whole city council, we're all new. We have questions too, but we need no answers. But we're trying.
Yes,
We're
sir.
trying our damnedest to find out.
Well, I hope my questioning helped a little bit.
We want the whole town to know what's going on and everything.
Yeah, these questions get us looking into everything, like I'll research the cameras and see where we're at on that. The Cora requests are coming up, and the ladies are going to check into that, so we are listening to you. This group is, so.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Very much so, thank you. And Sarah and Stephanie, thank you for hanging in there.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sarah.
And I'll check on that house thing too.
Yeah, I'd sure like to maybe buy a lot, somebody was willing to tear down an old house. I am looking to buy in the area, so.
I live on that street, I'd be so happy like her. It is.
Oh, and the one next to him,
Uh-huh.
they used to take care of it and the people kicked them off of it. Now it looks like a jungle.
Really?
But we don't have code enforcement to enforce it, so.
But when we did have code enforcement, they didn't deal with those situations. They dealt with this bus.
How much does it cost to bulldoze an old house, you know?
The red house, all you have to do is hit it real hard on one side because they already started knocking it down.
Meeting to order, pledge allegiance,
Sorry, Gerald.
let's leave.
Huh?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America We're starting the other meeting.
Hey, TJ, come on.
All right.
You know who he is.
Roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem?
Here.
Ms. Adams? Here. Mr. Rojas? Ms. Gilman? Here. Mr. Romero? Yes. Mr. Joy?
Here.
Mr. Mayor?
This section of the meeting, what we're going to try to do is understand the Family and Medical Leave Act and the responsibilities of the town and the employer so that everyone gets a fair deal. No one is, we want to make sure that it's federal laws and state, and we want to make sure that we do these things right.
Mayor, we need to approve the agenda first before we start. We never approved the agenda yet. Was that your procedure, you know?
Before we go any further, have approval of the agenda?
She just made the motion and I just seconded.
I'm sorry. Okay.
That's what we need to do.
I didn't hear you guys do that, so I apologize, I jumped out too quick.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Rojas?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Thorne?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Thorne.
All right, we're going to try to understand part of the Family Leave, FMLA Leave Act and the responsibilities of the town and the town and the employee has different rights that we're going to try to understand so that everyone's treated fairly in this. It's a 74-page document, and one of the things I'd like to recommend is that we set up a chain of command on this so that, like the town clerk, the assistant town clerk, the mayor, and the mayor pro tem are trained on how to respond to these things. As council members, we've all been reading this now and trying to catch up with what the law is. And parts of it is and I don't know if it's here, a poster in the work area explaining this to the employees.
I believe, yes, we've got posters that are out there in front, so I've not looked to see if this is on there, but we just got all the new posters last year, I think, so it should be on there. We got the federal and state ones.
There's a set of forms that are necessary that are filled out and the order, and there's definite time limits on it, that the group that's going to be in charge of this will need to get familiar with it so that everyone's informed on how this goes. Right now, we're all reading on our own, I believe. As council members, I don't know what everyone else knows about this. Last meeting we had, there were several remarks on it, and there were different answers. So we're studying this book right now, and I guess that's whenever we're asking questions. Bob, you had some questions.
Before Mr. Romero asks a question, I need to clarify. It was brought to my attention, because of the fact that I had stated that my forms were not the same. I was told by my employer that my forms will not be the same because of the fact that my forms that I did are different for the employer that I work for. So that's why I mentioned that these are not the same forms that I did.
And I called the state and the federal, and the numbers I got for the forms were city.
But I just wanted to clarify that I got called in too.
And a couple other people that were in the audience have been through it too, because we were desperate. This is just to, we're trying to get an understanding of what we're doing.
The thing that I was doing, I went and I cleaned up all the forms that I put off of the web. And, there's a number of forms that apparently have to be filled out. On both the employee and the employer. And I didn't know about any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, didn't know the exact, protocol, but I knew that there was official forms. Again, I can't mention certain people, but yes, I knew that there was official forms depending on what type of leave that you're taking. And on top of FMLA, there's also family medical leave in Colorado. And Vern and I were kind of going back and forth on that, whether it's required. And as far as I understand, family, FAMLI, is required. Every business has to opt into it. I don't know how that relates to government agencies. So I think there's two different things that we need to be looking at, the FAMLI and then FMLA. So I think we need to make sure that we're, so I think we need to make sure that we're up on the.
Double tap the screen,
policy and
guys. Just
procedure
tap,
on
tap.
Both of those medical leave
Just give it a tap,
programs.
tap.
And really, it's hard to get information on these, you know, it's,
Give it a tap, tap,
actually
guys.
now it's the three agencies we're talking to, a federal, a state on FMLA, and then it's a separate group for FMLAI. 'Cause Sarah, you know a little bit about the FMLAI, don't you?
I believe the board opted out of that.
And that was my understanding.
Community center having meetings and it was opted out of, because they, for our grant stuff, we have to be a certain percentage or something. The employer and the employee have to be a percentage, but we're such a small group that we
That
opted
you were
out of
able
that.
to say, I thought it was mandatory, so I guess I'll have to look again, so it's under a certain number,
If you have 10 or more, then the employer would pay for it.
right?
If you have under 10 employees, then the employer, it's 9% of your pay. So the employer would pay 4.5% if they elected to, and the employee would have 4.5% taken out of their pay.
So that's under 10 for just a general business, but does that apply to government
Yes,
municipalities?
it's the government, because everybody is required to either opt in or opt out. And the reason we opted out at the time was that none of us employees wanted to take any more paycheck out of our pay and hired it, I think, town, I guess, or the board decided that they would pay full 90% for the employees.
Okay.
So we are opted out of the FMLI, we are not, we are part of
They
that.
still need to just-
And that will bring up the question of there's a guideline on the amounts of people. One section I seen that says that if you're so many people or less, then you don't qualify for FMLA. But then I seen that it says that towns are not held to that number. And then another section tells me that they are held to that number, that technically anyone here would not qualify for FMLA.
Now, can we call like CML or somebody that could define that and give us a definitive answer?
I'm trying to get the labor board, wage and hour group to send someone down here.
Okay.
And that conversation started today, so I haven't got an answer on, but they need a class or something to where everyone knows.
Well, and we need policy and procedure written up, whatever we discover, whatever we need to follow as a statutory town we need that policy and procedure written up
And it should
in
be
the employee handbook.
Yeah, it
It
should
needs to
in
be
the
added
employee
in the
handbook.
employee handbook.
The way that if we don't have an employee handbook, then you have to give someone a notice when they're hired on.
And on page 10, it does say public agencies are covered. Any agency of the United States, a state, a political subdivision of the state, including counties, cities, and towns, or any interstate governmental agency are covered regardless of the under 50 employees.
Okay.
And that's on page 10.
And that's one of the reasons I want to get someone from wage and hour, because there's another section, and this is just to make the point of needing to have that come here, because another section contradicts what that says. And so this is confusing, but for the benefit of the town and for the benefit of the employees,
We need it written down, what we need to do, going forward, so we are making sure that we have collected the correct paperwork
and the proper people see the
and that the
paperwork.
proper people see the paperwork.
And there is that, actually, Angela, you got it open, it shows exactly the procedure on there.
Okay, but I still think you need to do what you said, is get somebody down here, since you're finding conflicting information.
Right.
So let's just get it confirmed, I say, you know.
And I had a lot of questions on it, and I'm trying to ask them as I go.
Mhm.
And I'm running into, I talked to one, like the federal, they send me to the FMLA, who would send me to FMLA-I, and then I found out about opting in or out, and I found out we had opted out, so it took me back to FMLA. And in this book, and I don't have them marked down exactly, but it appeared to be conflicting information. So I guess my best recommendation is getting someone here from wage and
Yeah,
hour.
and looking at the step here, the certification process, and it says optional or none required. Do we know what we have in place right now? Do we have this certification process?
Well, and I think no matter what our employee handbook says, this would be for FMLA through the labor board and the steps to take.
Medical certification, okay. This is the employee handbook, okay, so that certification is there, okay. Required, okay. So then it goes to grant or deny the leave request and provide designation notice to the employee.
According to.
Oh, yeah, this one. Determine if the leave request is for an FMLA qualifying reason. Okay, grant or deny the leave request and provide designation notice to the employee. Maintain health benefits during the leave, restore the employees to the same or equivalent position at the end of the leave, and maintain records properly. So nowhere am I seeing in here additional paperwork that needs to be filled out beyond the certification process from a medical, I'm assuming the certification process on here, is that specifically pertain to the medical, a letter provided by a medical professional? Or is there additional paperwork on top of that?
Now, there's additional, because if you read through this, and this is where it gets really confusing, you'll read a section, and then it says, review section 825-104C of the FMLA regulations, and when you look that up, it's going to show you different paperwork, like Bob was saying, it starts with the employee filing the paperwork for the leave, and that paperwork comes back, and it's a 4-page document that is filled out, I believe, by the employee and the doctor, but it doesn't give, medical things that they're not going to put on there.
Okay, so here's, in this, that this Bob has right here. So, the employee needs to complete section 1 of a particular form. Where's your name, is the form in here? Okay, so it's a total of 6 pages. Okay, so here's the application right here, okay. So here's the application right here, it's a total of 6 pages. It needs to be filled out and presented to the town and to the board if you're gonna go on medical leave.
Yeah, and that's just so that we can make a determination.
These are the ones I found.
And according to the employee handbook, it says, an employee must submit in writing at least 30 days before the beginning of the request.
And there's two, that one would be a planned one, and there's an emergency one.
Yes. And the emergencies are, like if your family, somebody in your family became ill, if you became ill, you're gonna know it right away.
Yes.
But it also states in here that a person can request orally or in writing. So it's like a, which way
And
you
the
go.
orally or in writing is why I have made the recommendation that we have a definite, like a HR department to where you know that this person's originally going to take it, which would be more than likely the town clerk. And then the mayor or Mayor Pro Tem would be involved in making the decision. And I haven't figured this out because it says that you take it, that it should go to the board for a determination. But if they're on FMLA leave, you can't notify them, other than there's a section in there that you can mail them a letter, but if there's supposed to be no contact, and that's where the attorney's confused too, is how do we do that?
Well, she shouldn't be, I'm sorry, she shouldn't be on leave.
We're not talking about any individual.
And we, unfortunately, we can't have any audience participation during regular meetings anymore, and we really need to kind of stick to that, and that's why we have the workshops.
Sorry.
If you need to, that's okay, if you want to speak during one of the regular meetings, you can sign up at the beginning.
But right here on number 10, it says employees on family or medical leave must periodically notify their supervisor of the status and intention to return to work. A supervisor has the authority to determine how often employees should give this notification. And if the person signs the handbook, they're agreeing to what's in the handbook. So, if I'm reading it right, then you can't
But,
have.
you know, and this comes into like things like the ordinance, how outdated is that handbook? You know, is it
It
time
doesn't
that
have a date
we,
on it.
is it time that we bring this up to date? Because FMLAI is a program that started like a year ago. So, and according to even FMLA, we're supposed to supply information on that even though it's opted out of.
So then, so do you think our next step would be to amend or to review the handbook and make any changes?
My suggestion would be get the training.
Yeah, I'd say we need to get that individual down here
Yes,
as soon as
because
possible.
we can make all kinds of motions or all kinds of decisions on things, and there's a 98% chance we're gonna make the wrong decision unless we get the training.
When was the last time this was approved? You recall? Do you know? If you don't, okay.
96, is that what,
2015.
2015? Yeah, see, so that's pretty outdated.
Yeah, this is, your employee handbook is really kind of a living document, and it should be updated pretty much yearly, in my opinion.
Okay, so how would we get together to update that?
Gonna have a workshop.
We have a workshop.
Let's go over it and make any changes and then
come together.
So I think we should add that for the workshop, next month's workshop, to update that.
So we'd all need a copy of this so that we.
Yeah, I've got a copy, and she's got a copy, he's got a copy, so it looks like Vern and Frank, I don't know if you have a copy.
You got a copy of the employee handbook?
No,
You got a copy of the employee handbook?
Yeah.
I guess I don't have one.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll work on getting someone down here to train us, or
Okay.
if we have to do training online, then I guess we offhandedly agree that we're going to assign positions for the responsibility of this. And, you know, because there's ways to take the information in, ways to store the information, and some of this could trigger a violation of the HIPAA laws if we don't do this right.
Yeah, right.
So this is one of those things that's very important that we need to understand and have the people in place to,
Well, yeah, I mean, the policy and procedure needs to be clearly defined.
yes.
Because we're flying by the seat of our pants right now, because it hasn't been defined. Let's just say there's issues right now because of that.
Okay, well, that would be all I have. I'll make sure that I get the information on someone coming down here. Frank, you got anything to say?
Okay, motion to adjourn, I guess, then.
second.
Third. Roll call, Sarah.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yep.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Barajas?
Yes.
Ms. Gannett?
Yeah.
Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Oh, guys, just like that, we're adjourned. Where's that you people guy?
Good job, you guys.
Good meeting, thanks for being here, Dan.
We appreciate all of your
Double tap
input.
screen, guys. Thumbs up.
Keep going.
Burn on that.
Appreciate those thumbs up, guys. That helps.
What was that?
It looks like they thought it was an investigator. No, I mean, obviously, he didn't want to answer who he was.
Yeah, and I'll be there, and I'm going
So this angle will be uploaded later. We'll have this angle with some better sound. So he keeps his mic up here on the podium. And yeah, so we'll have a view from this side. We'll get that uploaded on You People's channel. Alright. Yeah, so go check that out. Just because the volume's never the best in here, the sound quality sucks. So appreciate you guys all being in here.
Okay, TJ.
Have a good night, Gerald.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Alright, guys. There was the meeting. That was it. Hour and a half this time. Catch you on the next one, guys.
New sign?
Nah,
Is that new or is that, no?
nah.
Maybe I just never noticed the colors before.
Nah, that ain't there. Alright, Joe. Next time.